Hey bobbers, and welcome to this week's YouTube vlog from us, and I hope we're all okay. Thanks everybody as always that subscribed last week, and in particular the people that commented. We thought your comments were fantastic last week, so thank you so much. Without you, as we say every week, and we're going to keep saying it, we just wouldn't do this. And our subscribers are rising nicely as well, so yes, thank you. Stop my van, thank you very much. So one bit of news I have for you. My niece Isabel, we mentioned her a few weeks ago, she's going to join the business a couple of days a week, so she'll be doing our social media and helping out in the office to help my sister out as well. So that's well exciting for us. Welcome aboard, Isabel. Let's hope it's a good journey for you, as they say. Moving swiftly on to this week's vlog. S-plans. Now, we have done a bit on S-plans, i.e. I've done a Y to S-plan conversion. I've also gone through motorised valves and stuff like that, and basic side of wiring, but not too deeply. The issue we have internally is that the boys, my sons and Lee, are still not 100% au fait with the wiring side of the S-plan system. And it's not so much wiring them up if you're an installer, it's the diagnosis side and getting that right as well. So I thought the best thing I can do is make something up for them, and this is what I'm going to vlog this week. So basically, back in the workshop, I've got a bit of wood, I've got an EPH full wireless, yes, wireless S-plan system for a start, and the idea is I'm going to build the S-plan on the board, and then I'm going to wire it all up, make sure it works, and then I'm going to pull all the wires out, and then it's over to them. And then at a later date I can introduce faults onto the system for them as I build it a bit further and stuff like that. Coupled with the fact that I'm then going to create a Y plan onto the same board as well, it will be excellent. Instead of having a boiler and a circulating pump on the system, I will use bulbs. So a bulb will light for the pump, a bulb will light for the boiler, because it's a bit safer. And then that'll be a really good way for them to get around it, keep practicing, practice makes perfect, and then when they get the understanding of that wiring, they'll be able to fault find that little bit better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how I'll make it. Maybe you guys want to make one out there yourselves, I don't know. Once they get really up to speed with that, I'm then going to swap it around a bit. I'm going to get rid of the wireless side, and I'm going to make the wiring a room stat, a cylinder stat, and stuff like that. And then a bit further down the road, I'll make them wiring priority hot water, and we're going to go down that road as well. So this is something that I'm building very basic at the moment, and then basically we're going to build it up a bit at a time, and it will be fantastic. So that's my idea. Something else we've had people ask us a few times about as well is the burners in the boilers. You know, what sort of flame do they produce? Is it a big flame, a small flame, etc., stuff like that. So the other thing I'm going to do right at the end of the vlog, instead of lighting a bulb up, I'm going to fire a burner. We have a test bed at the workshop as well, and I'll bolt a burner onto that, stick the wires into the S-plan that I'm going to wire up, stick some fuel in it, and we'll fire that up so you can see that right at the end as well. So that's what we're doing. We're going to have a bit of fun for a change, sort of a bit of fun. I hope you enjoy it, I really do, and I hope this time you actually try and learn something from it as well. If you're a installer that loves, you know, putting in S-plans yourself and stuff like that, but you never wire them, this might be good for you, because you might be able to do it afterwards. Because essentially with the EPH full wireless system, as long as you find the 3 boiler wires, or 4 if it's got a main live as well, and you find your pump wires, you're laughing. It's as simple as that. So I'm not going to go on anymore. Let's crack on with this week's vlog. I'm in the workshop, so I'm going to use some 12mm ply here, which means that it's nice and clean. I can sit that up in the office, and then the boys can obviously fiddle with it till their heart's content. Because when I've done this and I've shown you how it's all done, I'm going to basically unwire it, and I'm going to get the boys to practice wiring it, and then know exactly how to do an S-plan. So I'm going to use full wireless kit, so it's sort of cheating because you're not wiring thermostats, but I'm going to start basic, and I'm going to add the thermostats in another day for them. Wago box again to speed things up for them, so they don't have to fiddle getting wires in and stuff like that, to make it a bit simpler. And then obviously a back box, good old switch spur. Here, 2 light fittings. One of them I'm going to have the bulbs which are here. One's going to be the boiler, one's going to be the pump. So instead of firing a boiler and firing a pump, it will just light bulbs, so at least they know it works. And then later on, when I introduce faults into the system, them very, very clearly, it'd be better for them. So I'm just going to mount the things where they need to go now. I will, as I said a bit, well, on the intro of the vlog, I'm actually going to fire a burner up at the end so people can see that as well, to make it a little bit more exciting. People think we're mad doing things like this, but yes, you can learn on the field, that's great, but sometimes it's just best to do it in a workshop condition first. Do your test, get confident before you go out in the field, and that's exactly why I'm doing this to the boys. So yeah, I'm going to mount things, then I'm going to label them, and then once I've done that, I'll be back and we'll start the wiring process. So I've put everything on the board and I've labelled it now. So we've got, obviously that's going to be circulating pump and the boiler there. There's your switch spur there. There's your wiring centre. I've put a little S plan in the corner for them. Heating valve and hot water valve. Remember, this is 2-port. Hot water thermostat, heating thermostat. As I say, this is wireless. I've just got to put the sensor there and your programmer. So I'm just going to get some 3-core and some 5-core, and basically I'll show you how to wire it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do now, it's all lined up. As you can see, I've put some holes in as well. So we're going to get some 3-core. The most important thing is to get the live in first. If you get the live in first, then you know where you're going basically. So we're going to use these ones here. So we're going to lift them all up, like so. Just easier to get all the way goes open, then you're not messing around. And as I say, it's the easiest way if you're inexperienced how to do it. Right, here we go. So, piece of 3-core. First thing I'm going to do is strip it. Nice and straightforward. Always make sure you leave plenty of wire when you're doing it as well. If you leave plenty of wire, then it's much better for you because it's easier to mess around with. So we're going to strip that. There we go. So this is going to be the main supply in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here we go. It's as simple as give them a twist. That's going to be our live. Push it in. We're in. That's going to be our neutral. In we go. Finally, our earth. So that's nice and straightforward. That is basically going to be the mains in. I'm going to cut the wire. I'm going to give it a nice little bit for the time being. Okay, and what we're going to do on here is we're just going to write mains, just so we know, to make life easier. Mains. In a second, I'm going to chuck it through the hole here, and I'm going to bring it up in here so we can work out what's going on there. Okay, so that's the first thing. I've just put it through the hole, and now it's coming out obviously in the box, which we'll sort out in a little while, so we'll just tuck that out of the way. I probably won't show you how to wire a switch spur, because at the end of the day we should all know how to do that. It's very straightforward. It's a load in and a load out basically, or supply in and load out even. There's your live neutral earth there. Here are your motorised valve wires. Okay, just for the purposes of this, I've put some black tape on the heating one so I know which one it is this end, which is that one there. So I'm just going to plug these on so they're done. Nice and straightforward. Like so. And we're just going to tuck them through. I'm going to leave the wires dangling the other side because at the end of the day it makes life easier. Right, so we're going to go heating first. So as I said, that's on the black tape on. Now the way it works is very slightly different, as I've explained before. When we are doing valves, the live neutral and earth is not the brown, the blue and the earth. It's slightly different. So I'm just going to strip these back slightly further to give us a little bit more. Like so. Flick them off there. It's always best to give yourself quite a bit of wire, as I said. If you do that, then at the end of the day, it's a bit more to play with, makes life a bit easier. So we're going to do the heating one first. Okay, let's just double check which one that is. It's that one. So neutrals we know are going to go into here. Neutral. Earth we know is going to go into here. Like so. Nice and straightforward. So on a motorised valve, the grey is the permanent live. So we're going to put that in to where the mains in is. Permanent live. The brown wire comes from the programmer, so it'd be the heating one. So we're going to tuck that out of the way because it's a switch live there. And the orange wire will go to things like your boiler and your circulating pump. So that is basically your hot water one in. With the heating, we basically repeat. So it's neutral in, click, earth in, pull. It's always best, you may or may not have noticed, as I'm doing it, I'm giving them a little tug so I know they're in. And there's the grey going to go the same, which, as I've just said, is permanent live, like so. And then we're going to put this one, because again it's coming from the timer in a minute, into a different connector again. And they all join, because again it's orange, and in we go. That's basically your motorised valves wired in. This wiring obviously I'll push through, as I've explained in a little while. And the next thing we're going to do is wire your programmer up. Okay, so far, very straightforward. As you can see, I've just put the fixing clip on there to hold them out the way. So far, we've got the live neutral earth in, and we've done the motorised valves. I've just stuck a bit of 5 core in, as you can see here. Trim that back a little bit. Okay, we're going to take the timer off. Here we go. And we're going to do this side first. So again, the wire's quite long. Obviously, everyone has their own form of strippers, but I'm using these ones for CK because they're blooming brilliant. Just cut that bit out of the way like so. Like so. Right. So with a programmer, very clear like always, you've got to power it up. So in this case, it's just a live neutral, and even though there's not an earth, there is a pole for it. So we're just going to stick them in first. Stick them in there, like so. Okay, so live first. Okay, that's the live in. Now the neutral. Make sure you get them in properly, i.e. right the way in, and no loose strands of wire either. Okay, I'm just going to stick the earth there. Here we go. Okay, so that will power the programmer up basically. If I was to turn it on now, it would be lit up. Gives you 2 wires, you've got your black and your grey. So basically that goes to pins 3 and 4. If you're on a Y plan, you use pin, I believe, 1 or 2 as well. But I'll explain that a bit further down when we bring this test rig on a little bit. So first things first, number 3, that would be zone 1. So when you'll turn your timer on, that would be zone 1. So that's going to go in number 3. And then the black wire is going to go into number 4, which will be zone 2. In this case, zone 1 is going to be hot water, zone 2 is going to be heating. Okay, live, neutral, earth, grey is hot water, black is heating. Okay, so now we're going to move back onto the wiring centre. I've cut the wire back already and I've stripped it. Okay, so we're going to go, obviously, as we know, to power up the timer, it's going to be live, neutral, earth. So we've got our bank of lives here, live, neutral, and earth. If you remember, I said zone 1 is going to be hot water, so zone 1 was pin 3, so it's grey. As we know by our switch lives here, that was heating, that was hot water. So the grey has to go into the hot water, like so, and black into the heating. Okay, and that will go there. So let's have a recap. We've got the mains here, obviously not connected yet, and they go into here, live, neutral and earth. Okay, you have the motorised valves with the live, neutral and earths as well, but the live is the grey, not the brown. The browns are here. Okay, heating, hot water. We've now done the programmer, live, neutral and earth, which is like always, going there together. As I said, pin 3 is hot water, which is the grey wire. Obviously the grey wire goes to the brown, which will go to the motorised valve. And then the heating side is the black wire, which goes to the brown wire, which is the switch live on the heating motorised valve. So if we was to put that timer on again, power it up, we press zone 1, the grey wire basically gets energy, it then goes to the motorised valve, it opens the motorised valve, and because the grey wire is live, that makes connection, and then it powers up the orange wire that fires the boiler and the circulating pump. But clearly I haven't got that far yet. Okay, so we've done the programmer, I'm just going to pop that back on, and we've done the motorised valve and we've done the mains in. Okay, we're now going to move on to the boiler and the circulating pump. So I've dropped the wires in for the boiler and the circulating pump. So here's the scenario. You're in an airing cupboard, you're converting a Y to an S plan. My advice is cut it all out, okay, and just leave it so you've got the mains into your wiring centre, and you've obviously know which one the boiler wire is. Nothing else really matters on the wireless system. Refreshing, we've done the programmer, we've done the mains in, and very clearly we've wired the motorised valves. One of these is going to be your pump, one of these is going to be your boiler. It doesn't matter which way round it is, but I'm just going to strip the wires. Okay, if it was a boiler and it was an external boiler, it needs a frost protection on it as well. That's an additional wire, so you wouldn't have a 3-core for the boiler. This isn't an internal, I'm doing this. You would have a 4-core because you leave the live, neutral and earth, i.e. your permanent live for your thermostat, and a switch live. That's what you would need. So we're going to take this as the circulating pump one. Just going to strip the wires. And this is going to be the boiler one. Like so. Now we're running out of terminals on the Wago, but it doesn't matter. So the neutrals we're going to put together. Like so. And we're going to stick them in there. There we go. And we're going to do the same with the earths. Like so. So this is the switch live for the boiler. This is the live for the circulating pump. They do not go to the live. They go to the orange wire because, as I've explained, when the valves motorise open, they power the orange wire up, which obviously means then you can power the boiler and the circulating pump. So, yep, you've guessed it. They go into where the oranges are. Okay, that's it. That's wired. That's your S-Plan wireless system wired. All I'm going to do now is wire the boiler side up, which is obviously the light, and I'm going to wire the circulating pump up, which is the light. They're just live neutral earths. You know how a circulating pump wires, you know how a boiler wires because it's loaded inside the boiler. So I'm not going to show you how to do it on here because I'm going to add a couple more bits of wiring, because obviously I'm wiring bulbs in, which are not really relevant. And then we'll do the switch spur, and then we're basically ready to fire it up. So yeah, let me just crack on for a little while. That was much harder. Such a fiddle putting them bulbs and that in there. I made a bit of a pig's ear of that, so that took a lot longer than I expected. So, recap. The spur we're going to do in a second. You've got the lives into there. You've got lives into there. You've got lives into your valves. But the wires are not brown, they're grey. We're going to turn this on zone 1, which is the grey wire. The grey wire then goes to there, which is the brown wire, which is a switch live. That goes to the hot water valve, that then turns, it then hits the orange wire and then powers up the boiler and the circulating pump, which is the lights. So now all we've got left to do is stick a plug on here and sort this spur out. And that's what we'll be doing now. You're about 3 seconds on, I'm 24 hours on. It's the next evening for me. So yeah, I ran out of time last night. So this is the wire. It comes from a plug. I've done a plug, okay? And then this one is the one that goes to the wiring centre. Here's your standard switch for your spur. On here, you've got live and neutral, which is supply. Okay, so that obviously comes from the plug, and you've got a live and neutral that are load that goes to the heating system or my board, and then earths. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to wire that up, and then, well, let's see if it goes, shall we? That's on. That's got a 3 amp fuse in that as well, and I've just basically plugged it in with my plug that is plugged in there. Okay, here we go. So in theory, I should better turn it on. Oh, something's happening. So as you can see, it's 6:05. It's actually 6:20, so I need to correct the time anyway. Okay, so we're going to do zone 1 first. So we're going to just come onto here, collect zone 1. Okay, and as you can see, I've turned it on and immediately the hot water light is lit here. Forget the thermostats at the moment. That should be 10 seconds, and we're hoping that orange wire is going to light and then bulb is going to come on, he says. And there we go. They are on. Okay, so that is zone 1 we know works. We're going to turn zone 1 off. Lights have gone out. Zone 2, as we know, is the heating. So the heating valve has lit up. We're just waiting now while it motorised opens, about 10 seconds. The orange wire should light up, and again, the boiler and pump should light. And there we go. Okay, so that has completed the circuit. Okay, so that's exactly how it works. I've shown you the whole side of it, all the wiring, right from the spur, right through to the wiring centre, the motorised valves, the boiler and the circulating pump, which clearly, as you know, is bulbs in this case, and obviously the timer. What we now need to do is we need to zero these controllers, or program these controllers, thermostats, into this panel. Okay, it's not really part of the test what I'm trying to do with my boys, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it anyway. Okay, heating thermostat first. So I've put the batteries in. We're going to press and hold the minus button for 4 or 5 seconds. And as you can see, it comes up with that display. We then press code on the heating side and it flashes, and as is zone 2, we press zone 2 and it does a sequence 1, 2, 3, and away we go. That is now coded. So I've popped that back in. You can see it's 18.1 in here, and it's saying 18.1 on zone 2 there as well. You can have the zones any way around you want, really. I just chose this way around. It's always good to ask the customer, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to test it. I'm going to turn the timer on like so. Correction, that is the wrong zone, we all know. We're going to turn zone 2 on, and as you can see, that isn't lit up. What we need to do is turn the thermostat up. We'll turn it up nice and high. And as you can see, that flashes a few times. And then there we go. That's now lit that light up on there to say it's working very clearly. That has now lit up, so it sent a signal to that. And then we just wait. Boom, away we go. We'll test it the other way. We'll turn this down like so. It will flash a few times, and then you'll see that will go out. Wait a few seconds, the valve shuts, they turn off, the power's gone, job done. So I'm now going to repeat that with the hot water, so I know that works as well. And that is this part complete. So, as an extra, like I said to you, I've got a burner that I've just got to do a couple of small bits on, which has been playing up a few bit of wiring issues, which I'm not going to go through with you, but then I need to test it. And well, I've got a very small test bed here, so what I'm going to do, just for fun, is I'm going to pull another wire out of this wiring centre. I'm going to stick it into the burner, I'm going to stick it outside, and we're going to fire it up. Because we've had a lot of people ask us what the flame is like on a burner, how big it is. So I'm going to show you guys. So I'll be back in a little while when I've had a little fiddle with the burner and I've got it set up for you. Right, okay, here's the burner. I've done the burner now, what I want to do. This is a stand I made. I'm sorry it's a bit dark in here now, but I've just done it so you can see the effect better. This is just a bit of angle iron, and I've welded a couple more bits of angle iron on there. You can use nuts and bolts. Then I've got a bracket, a fuel tank, which is off an old rotavator, something like that. I ordered it on the internet, a Honda one, about 10 quid. A bit on the top, a flexible oil line into it, and then just connect it to a plug. But in this case, I've connected it into the wiring centre. As you can see, that's moved now. So I'm going to test the whole thing. Now, as you know, the procedure of a burner is, on most when you have a pre-purge. When it's on pre-purge, unless it's a Riello, the spark is on. Okay, and then after about 10 to 15 seconds, it fires, and then the spark cuts out. So I'm going to turn the thermostat on Hopefully the valve's going to do what it's going to do. It's going to then go into pre-purge. I'm going to show you the spark. I'm going to get out the way and it's going to fire. So here goes. Right, first fix first. Turn the thermostat up. Click. Okay, here we go. Timer's on. That's opened. Give it 10 seconds and we'll have the spark. I'm hoping you're going to be able to hear my voice. And there is the spark. That's a good spark. I'm now going to get out of the way very clearly. And we'll go from this way. And there we go. Very big flame. That is it. It's purring away. It is literally as simple as that. It's not a massive flame. See? There you go. And it's about to run out of fuel now, so I'm just going to shut it down. And there we go. Peace. All right, so that is it. That is the flame that comes out of a burner. That's what's in your average boiler. This is a 0.75 nozzle, so clearly it's not a massive one. It only came out to here. If you get to 2-3 gallon an hour nozzles, clearly you're coming out a lot further with your flame. But that's it. So that is me done in here. As I say, back to the van. Okay, so that is it. That is this week's YouTube vlog. Done from us at Barton All Burner Services, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm back in my van. I wasn't going to be because I was home, but I've had a job coming through the last bit of recording, which I'm going to go and do now and get it out of the way. I know I've shown quite a few bits on S-plans before, and the reason I keep doing it and going on about it is because it's such a common thing for plumbers putting S-plans in, for people in our industry who just want to like repair them and stuff like that. So I just thought, you know, my boys struggle a bit of it. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're not so good. So I just figured, make a board up, spend a bit of money. Yes, you might think I'm mad, but spend a bit of money, get the S-plan on there, get it all wired up, make sure it works. You've got the bulbs to make things a bit easier for you. And now we know it works, I'm going to rip all the wires out, mark up what's what, so at least they know what's what, lay them on the floor, jumble them up and say wire it up. And then I'm going to plug it. I've got an RCD socket that I can plug into a socket just in case it goes bang because they've got it wrong. And I've done it into a Wago box, which is the ideal world to make it easier, because the aim is confidence. Got to get that confidence up. Once you've got the confidence up, then when you go into wiring centres, you can think, right, that does that, that does that. If the chop block falls to pieces, then you know how to deal with it. Okay, because you know where the wires go, which is half your battle. Okay, so that's why I decided to do that. And yeah, it'd be good for the boys, and I hope you guys out there have learned a bit as well. Sorry about the video, and it's very hard to do that, to zoom in on it, so it might be better if you've watched this on a phone. It's going to be better on a computer, so maybe zoom it out a little bit. It'd be much better to see the wiring colours. I'm going to elaborate a bit, as I've said to you. I'm going to add thermostats into the system on the board in a few weeks' time for them. I might show you that in reels and stuff like that. And then further down the road, I'm going to go Y plans. I'm going to wire into there, and then we're going to go things like priority hot water and stuff like that. That's the idea. So this board's just going to grow, and it's going to be a major learning curve for the boys as well, and Lee, of course. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that little journey with them, and let's see how they get on. So feel free to subscribe as always, and obviously we love a comment, so please do comment. And just looking ahead slightly, next week, I thought I'd tell you really quickly, we're going to be doing a wall star swap. Now, sounds a bit bland, but the reason I want to do this, because I want to show people how easy it is to change one. People see them through the walls and they're like, that's going to be quite hard to do. And the great thing about wall stars is there's only 3 models that go through the wall star 1, 2 and 3. As long as you measure the size of the old one on the casing, it tells you exactly then what one to put in. And it's so easy to do. You haven't got to modify any brickwork. It's a dodder. You can do them in 2 or 3 hours normally. They're that easy to do. So I just thought I'd show you that. So for people that have got wall stars in their areas and decide, you know, if they're going to change and shall I brick the hole up, shall I change it, you can see how easy it is to do. So there we go. Something to look forward to. Have a great weekend, everybody. And as I say, next week, it'll be Isabel Esterton. So yeah, watch this space, everybody. So until next time, stay safe.